These people on the right have been subjected to internet scams, and they're rather upset about it. This talk is about how to develop internet and phone smarts, similar to street smarts, and how to foil those internet scammers. We were all taught as youngsters and young adults to be aware of strangers around us on the street and to avoid possible dangers. This was called Street Smart. This talk is about developing phone and internet smarts, which is analogous to street smarts. Just like on the streets, whenever you use the phone or the internet, you are surrounded by strangers. The difference is that these strangers are anywhere in the world and you won't know the difference. It could be in any country. And so as a result, there are literally billions of strangers around you whenever you use the phone or the internet. The basic reality to be aware of is that any call, text, email, or web page may be a spoof or a fake, even if it appears to originate from a trusted individual or organization. The technology behind the internet is the digital representation of all media, such as audio, video, text, pictures, etc., as collections of bits, that is, zeros and ones. This is a strength of the internet because it allows all kinds of media to be mixed freely and transparently, but it's also the technology which allows faking to occur because all we have to do is come up with the right collection of bits and we have an exact representation. So let me repeat this for emphasis. Any call, text, email, or web page can be a spoof or a fake, even though it appears to be totally genuine. This is an example. This web page from Bank of America, which asked me to log into my online banking, appears to be genuine. In fact, the logo and everything about it look like the real web page. However, this web page could in fact be a spoof and be hosted out of a server anywhere, including the Ukraine or Bulgaria or the Congo or China or anywhere. And in fact, when I enter my user ID and password into this web page, what I'm doing is providing those credentials to scammers who may use that information to access my real bank account and transfer money to themselves. So I'm going to propose a simple criterion for identifying the possibility of fakes or spoofs for anything that comes in on the internet. And that is, when I'm asked to take any action which might get me in trouble, always ask myself, am I in control here? And depending upon whether the answer to that is yes or no, this will determine how I react. So let's define what we mean by being in control or not in control. Not being in control means that I'm acting on an unexpected and unsolicited text or email or call. Being in control means that I initiated a deliberate interaction using information that I found independently, for example, through a Google search or out of my contact list or simply out of my memory. Let's elaborate a little further on what it means to be not in control. Because anything can be spoofed, it doesn't matter if an unsolicited or unexpected source is trusted, because trusted sources can be spoofed just like any other. Further, if some unsolicited and unexpected entity is asking me to take action, then I can infer that some unknown entity is controlling me by telling me where to go and what to do. Let's look at an example. This is a email that is received from Bank of America, or appears to be from Bank of America, but in fact I don't know where it came from, and it was unsolicited. Further, within this email there are suggestions that I take action. One is to call a phone number, which they give, and the other is to click on a link which carries me to their online banking site. Well, in fact, if I call that number, I may get the actual Bank of America call center, or I may get a call center which has been set up by the scammers to appear to be a legitimate Bank of America call center, where they try to extract confidential information from me that allows them to access my bank account. If I click on the link, I may go to an actual Bank of America online banking page, or I may go to a page that appears to be a genuine online banking page, but in fact is a spoof that was created by the scammers with the goal of extracting from me my credentials for accessing my bank account. Similarly, let's elaborate what we mean by being in control. I'm in control if I initiated the contact, that it was not unexpected or unsolicited, and it's a contact from a trusted party that I solicited based on my own records, based on my own Google search, and not information that I extracted from some email or text from an unknown source. So, what should I do if I conclude that I am not in control? Well, simply speaking, I should run for the hills. What do I mean by run for the hills? It means that I should ignore the unsolicited and unexpected communication. I should disengage, meaning that I should not take any actions that are requested. And in most cases, that will take care of the matter and I can move on. But if I'm in doubt and think it might be a genuine communication from a genuine trusted party, then I can still pursue it by starting from scratch. What does starting from scratch mean exactly, period? Well, it means initiating a deliberate and purposeful interaction using contact information that was developed independently. For example, by doing a Google search, or by looking in the contact information on my computer, or by looking on the back of a credit card or an ATM card, but not using any information which was embedded within the communication that is suspect. If I do find myself acting based on information in an unsolicited or unexpected communication, or I'm tempted to act, here are several red flags that should signal to me immediately that this is likely fraudulent. The first red flag is urgency. Scammers will often concoct some story that requires you to act immediately without delay. And there are two reasons for this. One is they want to extract as much as they can from you and then move on to the next victim. But the other is they want to give you no time to think it over, because if you actually delay and think about what you're doing, you may quickly conclude that it doesn't make a lot of sense. For example, if an IRS expresses a concern that you owe back taxes, and they want you to pay those back taxes with a gift card from the local drugstore, that frankly doesn't make any sense if you think about it. But if you're acting with urgency because the agents are on their way to arrest you, you may not realize that. A second red flag is if the unsolicited communication tries to instill you a sense of fear or anxiety. This is because they use this to give you a call to action and also to buttress their argument that you need to act very quickly. A third red flag is a request for confidential information, such as your login credentials to your online banking, or your credit card number, or your social security number, or anything of that nature. Their purpose, of course, is to use this confidential information to extract money from you. A fourth red flag is if they explicitly ask you to give them money. And if they do so, usually it'll be by one of three mechanisms: either to send them a gift card, or to do a wire transfer, usually to a foreign bank account, or send money by cryptocurrency. The reason that they use these three mechanisms is that they are all anonymous. They cannot be traced. Or in the case of the wire transfer to a foreign bank, even though it can be traced, usually U.S. authorities cannot actually perform that trace very easily. And all of the three of these mechanisms also have the feature that they cannot be reversed. Unlike, say, a credit card, where you can contest the credit card charge and oftentimes get your money back. In these three instances, there's no way to get your money back. For individuals like us, the usual method of sending money to scammers is with gift cards, either purchased online or purchased at a local store. And gift cards are so easy and so convenient and have these properties of anonymity and irreversibility that gift cards are actually, I would contend, God's gift to scammers. As an aside, scammers will often ask you to go to a local store to purchase a gift card to send to them. But I would make the more general contention that it's not a good idea, not wise, to purchase gift cards sold in stores, even for legitimate purposes like Christmas gifts and birthday gifts and so forth. The reason is that the value of a gift card is rather easily stolen. Gift cards have very poor security. Thieves will go to stores and loiter around the gift card rack and start messing with the gift cards or photographing them with their phone or whatever, and then they figured out ways to extract the value before they even leave the store. So not infrequently, you buy a gift card at a local store, you send it to somebody, and when they try to redeem it, they find that it's actually been previously redeemed, so it has no value. So it's always safer to purchase gift cards online where that possibility doesn't exist. Okay, with that background, let's look at a few examples of unsolicited, unexpected emails and texts which may be evidence of scam. This is an email purportedly coming from Comcast in connection with their email service, informing you that the terms of service have been updated with some really nice new features. And in order to gain access to these new features, you have to accept these new terms of service by going to a particular link. If you do go to that link, then you will be asked to provide a ID and password for entering your email account. The spammer will immediately take that information, pass it on to somebody in the back room who will log into your account, change the password so you no longer have access, and then use their own access to the email account for nefarious purposes. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So don't do it. By all means, do not click on this link and enter that information. If you're in doubt that this may be legitimate, then you can independently go to your Comcast email and go to the settings and see if there's anything like that in the settings. If there's a need to update terms of service, they will inform you at that time. This is a text message that purports to come from Wells Fargo Bank, informing you that $240 was withdrawn from the ATM on your account, and asking you to call a particular number if this is suspicious. Of course, if this is a scammer sending this message, it will be suspicious, and when you call that number, they will ask you for information like your login ID and your password for your online banking so that they can identify you. And then they will immediately pass that on to somebody in the back room who will log into your account, change the password so you've lost access to your online banking, and proceed to send money to themselves. So you should not, of course, call that number, and you can probably just ignore this text message. But in case you are in doubt, then you can always go independently to Wells Fargo and ask about this by, for example, calling the number on the back of your Wells Fargo ATM card. This is an email purported to come from Amazon telling you have a refund due, but they could not be completed due to errors in your billing information. So they're asking you to update your billing information by going to your account by clicking on the link below. If it's scam, then when you click on the link below, you'll be taken to what appears to be an Amazon website where you enter your ID and password. And at that point, then they can take control of your Amazon account and start making purchases and sending goods to themselves. So of course you do not follow that web link in this email. But if there's any doubt in your mind, you can always go to your Amazon account independently by doing a Google search on Amazon, or by just typing Amazon.com into your web browser, or using your Amazon app. And then if there is a refund or a billing error or anything of that nature, they will inform you when you log into your account. This is a email from Netflix, which purports to tell you that your subscription period is ending and your auto payment for extending your subscription cannot process because of your payment information is no longer valid. And so they're trying to create urgency and anxiety on your part because you're going to lose access to your Netflix account unless you update your payment information. When you click on this link here, then of course it will take you to a spoofed version of the Netflix website where they can extract your login and password and gain control of your Netflix account. This is an email that purported to come from Google Docs, which indicates that somebody named Jennifer Warshak has shared a document with you, and you're supposed to open your Google Google Docs account by clicking on the blue box below. Chances are in this case that Jennifer Warshak is actually somebody that you do know, a friend or a relative, and their contact information and your email addresses have been obtained by hacking into their computer and getting their contacts. So if you click on Open in Docs, you'll be asked to log into your Google account, and at that point, if it's a spoof of that website, then the scammers will have obtained your credentials for entering your Google account, which may have wide implications such as access to your email. So in this case, the only way to tell whether this is legitimate is to, first of all, ask the question, is this something that Jennifer has mentioned, that she's going to send you something? Or if it is unsolicited or unexpected, then you can contact Jennifer independently by sending her a text and calling her phone number, which you obtained from your contacts, and ask her if she sent you a document. And chances are she will say no. This is an example of a gift card scam in which you receive an email purported to be from your boss who's in a meeting and needs to acquire a gift card right away for his best friend's son's birthday. It's very important that he get it as soon as possible. And of course, as soon as he gets out of the meeting, he will reimburse you for what you paid for the gift card. So in this case, since this was totally unsolicited and unexpected, you should be very suspicious. You're not in control, and so you should ignore it, this communication. Or if you are doubtful that in fact you might make your boss mad at you for not acting, you can attempt to contact your boss independently of this message by, for example, sending them a text message, which they will probably receive if they are in a meeting. But almost certainly this is a scam. Let's go back to this email from Comcast, which, if you act on it, can give the scammers access to your email account. And access to your email account is a particularly pernicious form of scam, which you should be very aware of. The reason that losing control of your email account is very dangerous to you is that many websites use email for password recovery. This is an example of Etsy, a particular e-commerce site. But like many sites, when you try to log into Etsy, there's an option to, if you've lost your password, to recover or reset your password. And usually this works by you entering an email address into a box, and then they send an email to that email address with instructions on how to reset your password, allowing you to get into your account. This is something that scammers love because once they gain access to your email account, they can go around to a bunch of websites, including banking websites and e-commerce websites, enter your email address, and try to get that site to send a password recovery email, which then they can access and use to gain access to your account on that website, and then use that access fraudulently. So your email account is extremely important. So the conclusion from that is that you should protect all of your accounts with strong, unique passwords, but especially important is your email account, because in effect your email account can give scammers access to other accounts of yours. So there is a way that you can give your email account a stronger protection from scammers, and that's called two-factor authentication, or 2FA. So this is a geeky term for requiring you to provide two different forms of authentication in order to access your account. One is an ID and a password, but the second is that when you enter the ID and password, they send you a text message to your cell phone which contains a random code, and then you're asked back on the website to provide that random code in order to sign into the account. So this means that a scammer who obtains your email password is not actually equipped to sign into your email account. So it's another stronger form of protection. So you can go to your email provider account and go to settings and go to security and privacy, and there you will always be given the option to set up two-factor authentication, which I highly recommend. And I would say the same thing about accounts that involve money, such as brokerage and banking accounts. It's a very good idea to set them up with two-factor authentication, which will always be one of the options that you'll find in settings. There's a new form of authentication that has been developed by the large technology companies such as Microsoft and Google and Apple in cooperation with one another, that is substitutes for passwords a different form of authentication called passkeys. And this is fairly new, and you may find an increasing number of websites where when you log in, you are offered the option to set up a passkey. And if you are offered this option, I recommend it because it eliminates the need for a password and also eliminates the possibility that scammers will obtain your password. And the way this works is like with a phone, either Android or iPhone, that you're offered the option to log into your phone using your fingerprint or your face, which is called biometric identification. And the passkey extends that capability to websites as well as to your phone. So you log into the website by simply providing a fingerprint or a Face ID. Let's talk a little bit about voice, or in other words, telephone calls. We used to give the advice that if you're talking to someone and you recognize their voice, then that's not a scammer, because that's a reliable way of authenticating the authenticity of that conversation. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore because of advances in technology. So there is a new reality that we must keep in mind with voice. Voices can be spoofed just like other forms of communication, such as emails and text messages. And so you can no longer trust the authenticity of either audio or video. So if you receive a call, including with a recognizable voice that is unsolicited and unexpected, and particularly if you encounter any of the red flags, then you should run for the hills, just like with other forms of communication. And if you're in doubt about the authenticity, you can always contact that person independently by going to your contacts or Google or whatever and obtaining a phone number to call them back. This is a one-page no scam pledge, which I wrote and am distributing separately from this talk. I would suggest you keep this page in a drawer somewhere and refer back to it every once in a while to remind yourself how to avoid internet scams. As a summary of the talk, I'm now going to read the No Scam Pledge, but also as an illustration of voice spoofing. The voice that will read this is not actually my voice, but rather a spoofed version of my voice generated by artificial intelligence. My No Scam Pledge. I will keep in mind that any call, text, email, or web page may be a fake, even if it appears to originate from a trusted individual or organization. I will not even trust a recognizable voice such as this one. I will always ask, am I in control here? I am not in control if I am acting on an unexpected and unsolicited call, text, or email. I am in control if I initiated a purposeful interaction based on information that I found and developed independently. If I am not in control, and especially if there are fraudulent red flags like urgency, fear, or requests for confidential information or for payment, I will disengage immediately. If in doubt, I will start from scratch, using contact information independently developed using my own contacts, a Google search, and so forth. Okay, that is the one-page No Scam Pledge. Back to my real voice. You might ask yourself if you would be fooled by the spoofed version of my voice. That's the conclusion of my talk, and I hope this is helpful to you in avoiding getting caught up in internet scams and phone scams in the future. Have a great day.